Hey, I'm Monty Twining together with my wife Diane. We co-founded Roost Root. It was originally Urban Coop Company back in 2013. We rebranded our company just right before COVID hit. Not such great timing in a lot of ways, but here we are. Uh, hey, and one of the first coops we ever came out with was our what we called our backyard coop. It's been a mainstay in our company for about a decade now. But in that decade, we've literally sold thousands of them. And we thought we could do a redesign of it. We are coming out with what we call our Model 2, Backyard Coupe Model 2. Another big objective of it was to make it less expensive to build. Inflation has hit labor markets, inflation's hit materials, and it's just gotten too expensive to build it the way we used to. So we wanted to take a lot of the thinking that went into the new starter coupe redesign that we relaunched a little earlier that's been very highly successful, and try to make a price point for our backyard coupe that would very favorably compete with what you could buy for a Chinese chicken coop that's a much, much lower quality. So I'm just going to do a little walkthrough for the new backyard coupe and kind of point out some of the design features of it. Let's just dive in. This is our standard model coupe. There are a few features shown, so those of you who are kind of paying close attention, I want to point that out. I'm going to show it with the water and the feeder, which are these are options. I'm also showing it with the optional clear polycarbonate roof. It's actually smoked, and because it just lets you see a little bit more of the structure inside of it. I'm going to hide a few things, and then we also have this little herb garden that we are offering as an option on it. Otherwise, I think this coupe is all standard, and just point out a few of the features of it. First off, there's a good 20 square feet of ground space in here, which is good for 5 hens. That's the USDA standard, 4 square feet per bird, to have what you got in the grocery store when you buy an egg that's called free range. This gives you a free range rating for your birds. This is what we use when we decide how much run space, when we decide how many birds a coop can hold. So this coop is set up to hold 5 birds. It has a protected back for somebody who lives where it's cold. And there is a set of storm panels that it's going to be available for it, just kind of like all of our coops, where you can put storm panels on it. And these storm panels basically cover any of the wire panels to knock out any snow or anything like that. One of the immediate features to this coupe that anybody who owns our original model of the backyard coupe is that we've protected the feeder from the weather. That was one of the consistent complaints about our old coupe, is that the feeder wasn't protected from the weather. So we extended the roof over a little bit more on this side to protect that feeder. This coupe actually has more egg box space in it than does our original coupe. So your egg box space is full width here, and that's going to be able to easily accommodate the hens in here. I'm going to hide this side of the coop for a second. We can talk about the roost bars. In the standard model, the coop is rated for 5 birds. That's really just a limitation of the square footage of the run space. When you go to the XL model and we put this run extension on it, and that increases the capacity of the coop to 8 birds. So the roost bar space itself is sufficient for 8 birds. The only limiting factor in the standard model is the run. So if you get your birds free range time during the day, or if you purchase the XL model and get the run extension, this coop can actually hold 8 birds. So that's good. It's got a water that holds about 3.2 gallons. If you've got 5 birds, that's probably about 5 days worth of water. If you fill it up with 8 birds, that's probably only like 3 or 4 days worth of water. We use that pint per bird per day. If it's more than about 95 degrees outside, I think you could plan on them drinking more water. The feeder holds about 7 pounds of feed. It's about 1.5 pounds of feed per bird per week. So if you kind of do that math, it's very similar. 3 or 4 days for the 8 birds, 5 days for the 5 birds. We really try to set up waters and feeders to where you can go off for a long 3 or 4 day weekend and not have to like pay somebody to watch your chickens. To clean this coop, this entire panel on this side will come off so that you can put a rake underneath the coop and rake it out. And there is also a turnout door in that panel that allows you to open it to let your chickens out if you want to let them free range. There's a small potted plant garden that we sell as an accessory. It comes with a liner that goes in the bottom of it so that any dirt that falls out, and it might provide you a little bit of extra weather protection, but this kind of allows you to put maybe some herbs and potted plants along the sides. And then the feeder is removed by removing this panel, which blocks it in. And then after that panel is gone, the feeder can then be really rotated a couple of different ways out of there, but typically it's designed to kind of rotate like that, be able to pull out from around the roof. I'm trying to think. There's full-time ventilation at the top of the coop. Chickens need ventilation at all times, even when it's cold. They still have to have ventilation, or else their the humidity from their respiration as well as the humidity from their poop. Chickens don't pee and poop. Chickens kind of have this all-in-one thing that it's smoky hot in the wintertime. It's kind of gross, I guess, but it gives off humidity, and you've got to circulate the air even when it's cold, or your chickens get frostbite. This coop is buttoned up really good for some place that's cold, in that they could put our snow panels on, and you would be able to go even 20 below zero. These birds are going to be fine in this coop. Once it gets much below 20 below zero, you got to have some specialty breed birds and maybe give some supplemental heat, but that's really rare. And I mean, birds are super cold hardy. They're really at much greater risk when it gets to be 95 or 100 degrees outside. That's when you really got to have an open air coop, which that's why this coop is so good, is they can get plenty of ventilation when they're down in the run. The feeder is optional feeder is kind of a gravity style feeder where you fill it up from the top and then the feed comes out. The optional water is a poultry nipple style water where the birds peck at the poultry nipples and they can water themselves that way. This turnout door locks in place by these carabiner clips, a set of these 4 carabiner clips, so it's very secure. And this coop, we tried to save some money and maybe use the cheap wire like they do in Chinese chicken coops, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to do it. We're using our top quality 16 gauge livestock wire in this coop. We're switching over slowly but surely right now to all stainless steel hardware. We'll use the stainless steel hardware we use on our most expensive coop on this coop as well. The big thing about these compact coops is that they are smaller. As far as your chicken is concerned, they're going to have the exact same chicken experience with this coop as would a chicken that stayed in our $20,000 chicken coop. It's mostly for you as the chicken keeper. The chicken keeper that's in this coop, it's going to be a little more difficult for you to clean it out. You've got to get a rake and rake out from underneath it. It's a little bit more difficult for you to get access to your birds. You kind of got to bend down if you want to get to your birds and kind of stoop down and get to them. You can't just walk into your coop to maintain anything. You got to kind of do it from the outside. But that's what makes them less money, is because they're more compact. They're not so big. Walk-in coops, you have to create the space for a person. Again, it comes in a standard and an XL model. The XL model holds up to 8 birds. The standard coop holds 5 birds. And that's about it. We are going to finish prototyping this coop in the month of October. We'll probably build several of them and start keeping birds in them through November. And sometime in mid to late November, possibly on the 1st of December, we'll start our first deliveries. We'll launch this coop the way we do a lot of our products in a pre-sale situation where we give a little bit of an extra discount for somebody who wants to be an early adopter of the product. And then as winter goes by and we get closer to spring, it'll crawl up to its normal price. Hope that you like it and hope you buy one. Thanks.